Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. What if your strict, old-fashioned aunt took complete control of you for one full week? New clothes, no makeup, no freedom, and a forced trip to a real old-school barbershop where she let the barber decide how to cut your hair. I was 18 years old, rebellious, with waist-length silky blonde hair that I loved. By the end of that week, I would barely recognize myself. This is one of the most intense transformation stories I've ever adapted. This is a week with Aunt Evelyn. My name is Leela. My mom was heading out of town with her friends for a week and didn't trust me to stay home alone. Even though I had just turned 18, she sent me to stay with her older sister, my Aunt Evelyn. Aunt Evelyn was the complete opposite of my mom. Strict, judgmental, old-fashioned, and always trying to fix things. The second I stepped into her spotlessly clean house and set my suitcase down, she looked me up and down with clear disapproval. My long blonde hair was flowing down my back. I was wearing ripped jeans, an old band t-shirt, no bra, and my favorite all-stars. She sighed heavily and said, "You're 18 now, Leela. It's time someone taught you how to look and behave like a proper young woman." I didn't know it yet, but that sentence was the beginning of a week that would completely change how I saw myself. That same afternoon, she dragged me to the mall. I thought we were just going for a few things. I was wrong. She rejected every single thing I picked out. Instead, she bought me plain floral sundresses that fell well below my knees, high-waisted granny panties, thick padded white Playtex bras, lace anklets, and the most embarrassing shiny black saddle shoes I had ever seen. Right in front of me, she took my beloved all-stars and threw them into a trash can. The sound of them hitting the bottom felt like the end of my old life. When we got back to her house, the real humiliation began. She marched me into the bathroom and ordered me to wash off all my makeup. I watched as my bold eyeliner, mascara, and lipstick disappeared down the drain. My face looked so bare, so young, and so vulnerable in the mirror. My freckles stood out. My cheeks looked flushed. Then she handed me nail polish remover and a pair of nail clippers. She sat there watching as I was forced to remove my beautiful red nail polish. After that, she grabbed my hands and started cutting my long manicured nails down herself, snippy, snip, snip. She cut them short and blunt, almost to the quick. My hands looked childish and powerless. By the time she was done, I felt completely stripped of everything that made me feel attractive or rebellious. But Aunt Evelyn still wasn't satisfied. "Now for the hair," she said coldly. My stomach dropped. I begged her not to do anything drastic, but she drove us straight to an old-school barbershop. The red and white barber pole was spinning outside. As soon as we walked in, the strong masculine scent hit me: bay rum aftershave, clipper oil, hair tonic, and the faint smell of cut hair on the floor. Several older men were sitting in the waiting chairs, staring at us. My aunt grabbed a number and we sat down. An elderly barber named Mr. Wallace called me over. He was finishing a man with an extremely short buzz cut. The floor around his chair was covered in white hair clippings. "Mr. Wallace threw a heavy red and white striped cape around me and fastened it tightly around my neck with a strip of tissue. I could feel my pulse against the tight fabric. I could barely swallow. He looked at my aunt and asked, "What would you like me to do, Evelyn?" My aunt replied with the most terrifying words possible. "She's becoming a young woman now. I'll leave it up to your judgment." I felt panic rising. Mr. Wallace started with scissors. The loud asterisk scrunch, scrunch, scrunch asterisk sound filled my ears as he cut large sections of my long blonde hair. Heavy, silky strands slid down the cape and piled up on the floor around me. I felt the weight literally falling away from my head. He shaped it into a neat bob, then sectioned off the top part of my hair. That's when he reached for the clippers. The loud, aggressive bzzzzzzzzzzzzz suddenly roared to life. He placed the cold, vibrating metal blades directly against my nape with no guard. The powerful buzzing traveled straight up my spine as he pushed the clippers upward in slow, deliberate strokes. Thick blonde hair fell in heavy sheets down my back and onto the cape. Cool air rushed against my freshly shaved skin for the first time in my life. Every single pass of the clippers sent strange, electric tingles through my entire body. The higher he went, the stronger the sensation became. My breathing became shallow. Heat built between my legs. I felt myself getting shamefully aroused right there in the chair. My aunt was watching everything with a knowing smirk. I was certain Mr. Wallace could tell too. When he finally turned off the clippers and brushed the loose hairs from my neck, my bob fell back down and brushed against the freshly shaved undercut. The contrast between the soft hair on top and the velvety, sandpaper-like stubble underneath was overwhelming. I had to grip the armrests to stay composed. That night, back in the plain bedroom at my aunt's house, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Surrounded by the ugly new dresses and underwear, I slipped my hand under my bob and ran my fingers over the shaved nape. The sensation was electric. I touched the sensitive, freshly exposed skin again and again, and I completely lost control. That night I realized something dark about myself. Being controlled, being humiliated, and losing my long, beautiful hair turned me on more than anything ever had. Little did I know, this was only the beginning. 2 days later, I would walk back into that same barbershop and do something even more extreme. Something my aunt never expected. That's the story of part 2. If you want to see how far this went, make sure to watch part 2. Drop a comment and tell me, would you have obeyed your aunt, or would you have rebelled? Like this video if you enjoyed the story, subscribe for part 2, and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.